Hello, everyone. Welcome to our new podcast. It's called Mischief in the Pantry. And here we are sitting in this pantry where we laugh and learn about all things about the workplace. And we will be talking to two very special guests today. Two guests that I thought were the perfect people to have for this conversation. And we can get into that a bit later. And for this episode, we will start with the first introduction, which is Yan. Yan is the CEO of iOli Comms. You want to tell a bit more about what you do?
Yeah, sure. So, by the very definition, I am a communication strategist. I am currently the CEO of iOli Comms, as Sam put it. I started iOli Comms not too long ago. Actually, we are celebrating our 10th year anniversary next month.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a very long 10 years,
Amazing.
really long 10 years. So I'm a PR girl by heart. I've only been doing comms and PR for the past close to a little over 20 years. I'm a mother of four, and I think I'm also a community builder. So I work with
Apa lagi? Like cook, community builder, host, mother,
Amazing.
behind the scene. What was it you said just now? In front of the camera, behind the
Off
camera,
camera.
and off camera.
Yeah, I have a lot of bakat, like what you said.
I love it.
So
I
yeah,
love
but yes, I'm a PR girl. I'm an agency
Okay.
slave, and I am a very, very proud entrepreneur.
Service driven, like results driven.
Yep, service driven. That's right. People
People-driven,
Yeah.
And the other one is Rashvin, who is the group CEO of the Biji-Biji initiative and a bunch of other things as well. You want to tell us a bit more about what you do?
Sure. Thank you, Em, for having us. Hey, Yan, good to be connected. Yeah, so I'm Rashvin, and we started Biji-Biji 12 years ago, so also been a while. Biji-Biji champions sustainable development through our circular economy, products and capacity building, and we run impact accelerators in Malaysia and ASEAN. 2017, we set up Mereka, so also like the Malay word Mereka. So we thought a bit bijak lah.
But also like mereka,
Yes.
benda.
Yes, to
right?
create, right?
Yeah.
To design, to create. Malay is beautiful, like
Yeah.
a lot of double meaning. And apa nama? No worries. And we at Mereka look at talent development for tech and AI and helping people get jobs, increase income, and pushing the boundaries of what the future of work means from skills, but also culture. So that's why today is going to be quite fun.
Awesome. So for our conversation today, like a quick overview, it will be divided into 3 segments. We'll ask some introductory questions, get to know each other a little better. And then we will get into the second segment, which is Story of the Month. We will read you 1 or 2 stories that the team has collected from the internet, and we are going to discuss them with insights and reactions and all of that. And for your information, I have not read the story either, so we are all going to be
This
surprised.
is awesome. This is like the Daily Show, one of those like shows.
That's the idea.
I love it.
I love it too.
And
Let's do it.
and then at the end we'll end with like closing of unpopular opinion, which I think something the audience should look out for. But without wasting any more time, I want to get into like the first part, which is like let's get to know both of you a little better. My first question for the two of you is, what is your go-to coffee order?
For me, I'm a very open book, so it is hot cappuccino. I'm always a cappuccino girl. I mean, no, not really. I used to be a long black girl.
Oh.
People say that, you know.
As you age, it changes.
It changes, right? So we sort of evolve, and I think I've evolved into
Hot
cappuccino.
cappuccino. What was from black to cappuccino?
Yeah, from black to
Oh, we can always do both. You know? So I do long blacks in the morning and cappuccinos after lunch.
cappuccino as well. Oh, nice.
So why not?
We just realized that we have quite
A lot of things in
People
common,
discover
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to take my coffee with milk, so it's either like flat white or lattes.
Okay.
But I noticed that for you, right, it's actually the opposite. For a lot of people, they will, when they are younger, they will do the more fun drink, and then as they get older, they will do the long blacks and the Americano. So maybe you're like aging backwards.
Oh, totally.
I'm a bit more
All of us.
age and
We're all
subtle.
aging backwards. Right?
All right, second question I'm going to ask you is, what is your favorite office snack? But do you snack in the office? Like when you're doing work?
Generally not much. But if I do, it'd be like, I have an air fryer recently, so
In the office?
no, at home. So I bring it to office.
Okay.
So fried tempeh or air fried tempeh.
Oh wow, you're very Malaysian. I wanted to say Malaysian, but tempeh is not actually Malaysian. Anyway, I don't snack. I'm not a snacker.
So when you do work, you don't like go to the pantry and take things. Actually, I'm the same too. Is this a trend? We should study this because I noticed that my team snacks a lot.
My team snacks a lot. That's the only thing they do at work apart from working. You know, you can hear the crunch, crunch, crunch sound, you know. They just,
For me, it's the wrappers. The flying around wrappers. Like they will see here and then there'll be like a mountain of rice crackers
When they
wrappers.
showed me around, they were like, "This is the pantry where all the snacks are," and I was like, well,
yeah, that's a priority.
You
right?
can tell where the heart is. It's definitely the pantry, and that's why I guess the podcast is also in the pantry, right? Okay, next question. What is This is my second favorite question on the list. What is your morning routine?
Oh, I love this question.
Yes, yes.
I'm a morning person.
wow.
I am an extreme morning person.
What is
I
extreme?
am so cynical and annoying to many people. So
How
I'm
early
very
is it?
chirpy in the morning. So I wake up at about 5-ish. And then the first thing that I would do is grabbing my phone and look through all the WhatsApp, the emails and all that. Then I'll roll out of the bed and I'll meditate. So I am a meditator. So I meditate so that I don't end up eating people. After I meditate, I will read the news. Until now, I still have newspapers, physical newspapers sent to my
Wow.
house. I'm a PR girl. If I don't read newspapers,
Fair.
it's
No, but
just
physical though. Where do you get
physical, 'cause
it?
I like the,
Sorry.
subscribe
Do they
and then they
say
will
Oh, so they
send.
deliver it to your house. Sorry, I mean my news is on the phone, right?
Yeah, and then after that, I'll get the breakfast ready for the kids. And whilst my husband send the first one to school because we have 3 school drops, and I go for my morning run, sunrise run. So
Which is a new thing in your routine.
yeah, it's only about 6 months old. So I
That's
have
amazing.
6 months new routine. So I am out of the house by 6:15, 6:20, and I go for a run about an hour. Then I'm back, and then I'll take my coffee. I don't really eat breakfast. Coffee is my breakfast. During holidays is something else. And then I will get ready and go through my to-do list. So I'm both fun and boring. So I'll go through my to-do list and all that. And then a time for second school drop. So either I do or my husband does that. And then after that, I start my day. Usually I start my day with something fun. Usually coffee or breakfast with a friend or my neighbors or my husband. Then I'll get to a bit more serious things, which is work.
What about you? Morning routine.
So Yan is that quintessential morning person who makes
Yeah.
everybody else feels like they are like not even.
We're not doing well enough in life.
And morning people have this, right? Morning people do this. Like they make everybody else feel like, what? You are waking up at 8?
Oh,
I've
7.
done, like-
Huh?
I've
7?
done, like,
You mean you wake up when it's already bright
I've done,
outside?
like 20 things. Like,
You
oh,
mean you
man.
don't meditate?
Yeah, like you haven't gone for a run?
You mean you breathe like unconsciously?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm very happy once I'm awake, but I'm not the most morning person. So I can sleep, I can work late. Like, I have a second wave of energy like after 9:30, 10 till about 12 or 1.
Oh gosh.
Like creative to write. It's very peaceful, very quiet. So I like that. But when I wake up, usually phone quickly if anything urgent, but I do not go through emails and all that just for urgent stuff. Play music. I'd play like something like down tempo, bossa nova,
Nice.
something very chill and zen.
Wow.
And then black coffee, and same like you, no breakfast. Yeah.
I find like a lot of entrepreneurs just take coffee for breakfast.
I wonder why. Maybe we should really do a survey about that.
Yeah, and then partner with some coffee coffee
Betul.
brands or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Zeus really got the CEO latte, right? So we just have
Yeah.
to.
Which Ian is a huge fan of.
It's not bad. It's
So maybe like
Yeah.
shout out to Zeus.
yeah.
Yeah. Shout out
Next
to
time
Zeus.
sponsor.
Sponsor me, okay? Every day.
Okay, let's move on to our second segment, which is Story of the Month. I'm 50% excited, 50% like super nervous about this because I have no idea what the story is. But let's go into this. Oh, but I have a note to read. Before we get into the stories, I just want to say that we took these stories from Reddit. Oh, thank you, Reddit, for this contribution, for these stories. And hopefully one day we can have like audience-submitted stories and all of that. So if you're listening and you want us to discuss your stories, please feel free to submit them to us. And we want to cover some of the most commonly talked about or absurd, horror, whatever you want to call it, right? Stories from the workplace. And here comes the first story. It's called Am I the A-hole? or can't say the word on YouTube. So I think a-hole is fine, right? Is it fine or not fine? Not fine, okay. Am I the bad person for doing this? That's the story. Am I the bad person for calling my co-worker a loser and making her cry? Here goes the story. I've encountered similar scenarios throughout my life. I'm not just daily making people cry, and belittling people. I am well liked and I have good friends and relationships. I just refuse to put up with this at work. I'm very direct and to the point always. I feel like people are mean, or they never say what they are really thinking at work. People will sacrifice their own sanity and comfort to not poke the bear. But me, if I try to tell someone exactly what I think about them. The most recent situation is with a co-worker, bracket 39 years old female, and me, who is 23 male. I'm not going to specify the type of job. She is hated or disliked by all the co-workers. I don't let this get to me, so I never put up with it. So if she tries to do something, then I will say it straight to her face. I've noticed that once people realize that you don't deal with when they misbehave, then they tend to leave you alone. So I have good experience with her, but I see how she treats other people. She snaps at everyone. If she is doing a task and can't finish it, she expects others to help, but she never helps other people. She'll work around, cause mess, and when it's her mess, she won't clean it up, and she'll snap, and she will also deliberately set people up for failure so she can be mad. She just plays lots of mind games and has everyone else on edge. Can't get into detail because of character limit. Recently, me and another co-worker were working together. Usually she doesn't get on me, but this co-worker is new, and I guess she wanted to assert her dominance, so she was getting me involved and picking on me. I just had to stop working for a bit and told her that I see everything she does is a mind game. Let's stop here. I think there's so much happening.
There's a lot
already. What caught your attention from the story so far?
I mean, for starters, this person has done a very one-sided version of the whole story. Okay. So it is a bit loop-sided from this 23-year-old male's perspective. So it's a bit hard to really say. But I mean, taking that if it's true, in that case, like there's a few problematic behaviors. Like the setting up for failure is quite a bad one.
Yeah.
And this mind games thing, like, oh, you're very tiring, right?
Yeah.
And if it's true, yeah, that is quite.
Have you had like a work experience where you're working with someone where because we will never know for sure, right? Whether this person is playing mind games with us or they genuinely care that
or they're just oblivious and they don't know, and they're super into their thing, right? It's a bit.
But it's also possible that this person, the 23-year-old male, is also playing politics here because he's saying a lot about that other colleague, right? Like what you say, it's one-sided.
Totally.
Anyone
Macam dia
can
terbaik,
say,
he's the best.
Dia je yang elok, yang baik, right?
Yeah.
So
And he's well liked and loved.
and she is all those
She
things
is
that you
everything
said,
that is bad.
That's like a lot of the stories because it is one-sided,
No, it's
right?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And in the employer shoes, we understand there is always two sides to this, right?
Yeah, but I'm really just trying. I don't think I'm that person. I'm a bad person at work, but I think I have worked with a lot of bad people at work. Whether as colleagues, as peers, or me leading them as a team leader. And this is something that's really happening. Okay, let's put aside whether this 23-year-old is being very biased and one-sided about the female
probably
colleague.
true,
Right?
lah.
Maybe true.
Most probably true.
But say for example, it's true, right? Say for example, it's true. The thing about we are talking about sort of a bullying, workplace bullying, right? Is it because the kind of thing?
I guess it depends because if we find that the perspective is a bit like lopsided and you're kind of like constantly picking on this person, then that is bullying, I would say, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I'm trying to get at. Is there ever has it ever happened that when you feel that that this person at work is just out to get me, kind of thing, like setting me out for failures and all of that? Is there let's entertain this person's POV for a bit. Like, is there a possibility that it could be true?
No, of course there is those instances, right? But I'm trying to wonder, how would you validate that? So in the event you start feeling that, am I being picked on? Now, how do you move from suspecting that feeling to knowing that it's the case? Right, that's an interesting one, right?
Betul.
Because it's quite easy if you're new to get into your own little like bubble and feel like they're just picking on me all the time. Yeah.
Let's continue. There's a lot more, a bit more details, okay? I want you to hear the way that he's explaining about this situation. Continuing from just now, I just had her stop working for a bit, and I told her that I see everything she does is a mind game. I'm not going to get into her home life, but I know she is an unhappy wife and mother. I just say, are you gonna like flip the table right now?
Like, totally like this 23-year-old.
Wow.
I cannot continue reading because this is too funny.
Such a Reddit story.
My eyes are watering from laughing
This
too
is,
much.
this is definitely Reddit.
Of course.
Yeah, it's so Reddit.
Okay. I just said that she probably doesn't feel in control at home, so she tries to be a bully at work. I'm not saying she is I'm not even saying this in an aggressive tone. I was just stating observations about her home life. Never mind. I told her people acted like this in high school, but you're almost 40 and you're still this way. Were you always like this, or did you become a loser as you aged? I told her that I think she's weak. Okay.
I mean, this guy is the bully, no?
Yeah. And now this part sounds like the bully is him.
Yeah, this is amazing. This is a
Yeah.
plot twist. Like,
But what do you think about that comment about their home life? Like, my first reaction was, how do you know?
yeah, this guy needs
I
a knock
mean-
on the head.
I mean, there are two parts here, right? I mean, I do think that it's important to also, if you are talking about having empathy in our colleagues, right? Whatever we decide and all that. So sometimes understanding and knowing what this person is going through in his or her personal life helps. Right?
You
Right?
cannot dismiss that
Yeah,
the
we can
personal
dismiss
life.
that.
Affect
Yeah.
work.
But in
Yeah.
this context, linking whatever that's happening at work and linking it and bridging it to the situation that she may have at home is just downright, I wanted to say,
Yeah.
this is quite extreme.
Yeah, I mean, I have to put on my feminist hat here. And I don't think I have ever heard anyone saying this about a man.
Very less likely.
If, let's say, you have like a bad encounter with a female co-worker versus a male co-worker, I find it that it's quite common that people will say, oh, she must be miserable in her personal life, or, her husband must not love her or something, like it's very quick that people make that comment. But I've never heard like when you have a slightly or a lot toxic male colleague and people will be like, oh, this person must be unfulfilled at home. Their children must hate him as a father. I don't think I've ever
Much
heard
less,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard, but not as much as towards
Yeah.
the women.
So this is like a reduction of who you are as a person, and this is what people say when, feminists always say that whatever we do, no matter how high you climb up the world, and no matter how successful you are, how ambitious you are, at the end of the day, you are judged by your traditional gender roles.
Yeah.
If you are an unhappy mother and an unhappy wife, like in this situation, then it will have like a spillover effect. You will be a bad boss. You will not be good at work either.
Whatever you achieve is dismissed.
Yeah.
For
Betul.
what? You do that, but in
Betul.
the end, not happy as well.
Yeah.
Betul.
I'm just gonna add on something just to echo what you said. Whilst it's a compliment to me, it's actually exactly what you were saying just now. So a lot of people making this comment about me. Yan, you're so lucky. You have a very supportive husband. Very good, and he's a very good father. And you must be so fulfilled. You are so happy and all that. And because of that, you're doing so well in your career. You get to do all this. Because of that,
I'm
you are
upset on
who
your
you
behalf.
are. I have been upset. I was like, is this a compliment?
Kan.
Right? Hello, I'm not who I am, and I'm not successful today just because I have a supportive husband who's a great father. Because I'm super, super talented. I'm super hardworking.
You earned it.
Yeah, I've
You
earned this, right? But so it's actually it's actually the same thing with saying that because you are unfulfilled, because you are unhappy, because you are so lonely, and that's why you behave so badly at work, or you perform so badly and poorly at work. So it's the same thing. So it's a very passive aggressive kind of remarks, and I don't know if they want to call it
or backhanded compliment.
backhanded, that's right, that's the term, backhanded compliment. I usually, if I know that person well, I say no, especially nowadays, because I feel like a lot of people have been romanticizing my personal life, and I don't need them to do that. So when that kind of backhanded compliment comes my way, I will say no, actually it's not that. I mean, I work really hard.
Well
I
done.
mean, him being supportive.
I'm glad you claim it back and you
Yeah,
said
yeah,
like,
yeah.
he
I
is
mean,
supportive, that's good, that helps, but that doesn't work if I don't get
Betul.
my stuff done and
Yeah.
I'm not good at my
Yeah.
job. Like,
I mean, if you want, you can go to him and compliment him.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, you know what? I will pass your compliment to my husband when I see him later, but now try a compliment for me. And just pause, and see whether he can or he or she can come up with a compliment that is actually meant for you, right?
Yeah. I hope people will, stop.
Give me a better compliment
the
now.
guy wouldn't get this, right? You wouldn't get this, like, oh my God, you're so lucky. Like, you're good at your job. You're so lucky, your partner, your wife supportive. That's why you're good at this.
Yeah, you must be so.
Okay, wait.
You're so talented.
Let's ask Rashvin this. What has people when Biji-Biji America has like achieved so many great things? Have you ever had a situation where people credit those success to another person and not you?
I mean, yes, but I think it's fair because we are like a group of co-founders also.
I mean,
So
not
we-
your
we-
co-founder lah. I mean
Because
Yeah.
We've had some like funny ones where it's like, oh yeah lah, they all like know how to speak and that's why and or they
came from good
come from like connected background, right? Like a bit dismissive and like they orang pandai bodek, right?
Yeah.
A
Or
few
boleh
of
lah,
those.
he got connections.
connections, especially. I hear that a lot actually. Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like, no man, like, of course you leverage what you have, but at the same time, we say yes to a lot of things, right? You have to create that opportunity. You have to muka tebal,
Betul.
ask 10, get 2.
Betul.
It's okay.
Dapat tu, I will go home and sujud syukur, Like, usually you ask 10, you get 1.
Yeah,
it's a win.
right?
Yeah.
So no one sees that. And then like, easy lah for you, like, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you need to ask. And those people who talk a lot, they don't even ask. They just expect things to just fall.
Betul,
into
that one pisses me
Alright.
off. Like, no proactiveness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a lot of experience with that. I think even like for example with MIDP, because we have like me who is like a female person up there, and then you have a male. And I remember, I think some of my team members might attend this meeting with me, and we were in a meeting with one of the governments, one of the ministries. And we were in the middle of a project. The project has been running well. They're super happy with it. And then halfway through, this person who's chairing the meeting said to me, well, Em, I must say MIDP is doing so well. Please send my regards to your male partner and tell him that everything is going well, and please send my congratulations. And I was like sitting there in a
You
meeting.
lead this whole thing.
I was like, sure, because sometimes you pick your battles,
You're
kan?
doing
Yeah,
so
you need to
well.
pick
Your
your
male
battles.
colleagues, I mean, let's just go with it. Your male
Yeah.
colleagues must be doing a really good job. I'm kidding.
I was like, I wanted to say something, but I
I
was
also
so...
admire that about you, because you don't need to bite on everything people say, right? You need to pick your battle. I know.
Of course.
Because we also need to cari makan, and you
Cari
cannot-
makan is one thing, but sometimes if I can't say something that I know will be like impactful, I would rather think about it first
Yeah.
and come back
Yeah,
and
true.
say it later.
No, it's not in our
Did you
culture.
Yeah.
go back and say it?
We met at the closing,
Uh-huh.
and I did say something afterwards. Yeah,
Good for you.
Well done.
but it's more like
But we got to be careful because in our culture, it's not so appreciated to call out, especially in a big
Betul.
setting. And you could be
Betul.
then like double, like, even for
Betul.
a guy to an older person,
Betul.
an older male.
Yeah.
You need to know your place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we are
I-
very, I don't know the word, but
Yeah.
we're very like
hierarchical.
hierarchical. That's
Yeah.
the word,
I
right?
mean, I do want to raise a more empowered future generation, but I also want to instill in them that sometimes you just need to know your place. It doesn't mean that
Yeah.
you're a weaker person in that situation. Sometimes that shows strength. Then you can just, okay, I don't have
Yeah.
any good comeback for now, or it will just make
Yeah.
me look.
Okay, but to the bullying thing, right?
Yes.
What do y'all think about this? Where you gotta also pick your battles, right? So there are moments when, I mean, bullying is serious, let's not even underplay. But there are moments when some comments happen. I get some silly ones, right? And I don't know, like, if it's worth to live a life going to correct all these things. Because, like, in the end, it also takes a toll on you.
Betul.
So I think, like, I've found a lot of joy and mental peace of also being able to let go, like, of some idiotic comments or opinions.
agree.
Right? Because have to lah. I mean,
Betul.
for me,
Yeah.
I understand people like, oh, you're not calling it out and you're encouraging or
Betul.
you're enabling.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, really, bro, I don't care.
Or sometimes you get stuck in the middle where there are a certain group of people who expect you to call out and defend habis-habisan. And then but macam for me, like in that meeting, I didn't say anything because it was meeting with like 8 other agencies. Like not the time nor place for
It
it.
will not look good on you as well.
Betul, and I don't have a good like comeback. I need to think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
And when I eventually said something, it was just the two
No,
of
you would
us
derail the
standing,
whole thing,
right?
Because you would
Betul.
suddenly the whole meeting is a bit like
Betul.
and then you
So
also
like
get stuck.
I think time and place.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about the hierarchical nature of our society. On one hand, I love that it makes us like into the sense of community. I love that we respect our elders just because they are older than us.
Yeah.
I love that, and I would show respect to someone just because they are older. I love that part about our culture, but at the same time, you have this other aspect that it creates like a culture where if let's say this person is the one that is bullying other people, then it's so hard to stand up to this person.
But I feel then, right, older people in Malaysia, and now that we are all also like,
Getting there?
years, right, you have that duty on you. So you get respect inherently by age, and you need to be super accountable to that.
I'm not sure about you, but I am the older people now.
Same lah, we're all about that already. Yeah.
Betul.
I
We
feel
just
like
look really young.
yeah, we
Right.
just look young, obviously, because our healthy lifestyle.
I know yours.
The jog in the morning and the meditation is paying off.
Obviously. Yeah, but it's the right time and right place. And I like to think that we don't need to fight everything and everyone. Sometimes, you just let go. And sometimes the person who's passing that remark or saying that something, no, maybe he or she is going through something as well. Just trying to, flex some muscle in that moment. I don't know. It's just that you don't need to fight everything and everyone all the time.
I want to read the last one. I'm scared to finish it off. But I will read the final paragraph that I have here. So he said that I can see the insecurity in everything she does, keeping this short, but I pretty much just told her everything I thought about her, and she was quiet for the rest of the day. I saw her eyes watery at times. She tried to report me, but nothing happened with that. She told everyone what I said, but nobody comes to her side because nobody likes her. I kind of feel like an ASS. I know things are rough with her husband. They have phone arguments a lot, or I guess that's how he knows. And he added an edit. He says, to clarify, I only told her this because she kept snapping at me and the new girl, to the point that I thought the new girl would quit. She already pushed 6 other people before into quitting. So now how do we feel?
I stand by what I said earlier. I think this guy is the bully, and he's really just trying to justify it by saying that this person has caused 6 people to resign, don't know whether true or not, or the other girl to nearly cry or whatever. Because he's saying
He's
that
such a savior. No?
Severe complex.
Hero lah.
it's a savior complex. He has that, I think, and the fact that according to him that she tried to report him to the HR maybe, right? And no action has been taken and all that. I don't know true or not. It's just that
Yeah, actually for me, before this page, I'm macam 50-50. I feel like, okay, it could be not like,
What's your take?
But after this, I feel more empathetic towards her now, for sure. Okay. And the reason for that is because in my line of work, we do a lot of investigations into like wrongdoings at work, right? And I see that sometimes when people are not liked at work, and it creates this like snowball effect where people just start picking on the same person that is not liked over and over again. And people who are not liked at work for whatever reasons, also sometimes it's harder for them to raise a concern with HR, like nobody takes them seriously. I think it's very sad that she tried to report to HR or whoever that manages the grievance mechanism, I assume, and no action is taken, because to the very least an investigation should be done.
That's right. Whether she was wrong or not, and investigation should have been done.
Betul.
Actually.
Because these are serious allegations here. Like she's causing attrition or...
I mean, that 6 people leaving, if that is true,
Betul.
that is a separate, like, HR should have looked into that, like, months
Betul.
ago, right?
Betul.
Like, that is clearly, like, a problem.
Betul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever
And-
he claims, I don't know.
The other thing is, you know, when we do like a workplace harassment and bullying training, one thing that I always remind people is that there are 3 types of bullying that are most common in the workplace, not just in Malaysia, but globally as well. So it's intimidation, isolation, which you covered earlier, and then vilification. So intimidation is basically when free will is taken out of you, right? So you do this or else. So you feel like you don't have creative control over a lot of things, and you are pushed into doing things that you're not comfortable, thrown under the bus and things like that. That's intimidation. But isolation, I want to bring this back because Yan raised this very early on, which is like now super spot on, I feel, that clearly the fact that this person, I know Mischief is like enjoying the conversation. And so the fact that this person is not liked, ignored in her complaints, and you know, being accused of a lot of serious things is also a sign of isolation. And isolation, you are right, it could be like not inviting someone for lunch. I also remember an investigation that we did. It was this, she's in middle management. She has a team of, let's say, about 10 to 15 people that she's managing, and she is organizing like a Christmas party at her own house. So she invited basically every single one of her team member except one person. Okay, so this person felt like, hey, why are you excluding me? Macam not cool. So this person reported it. And when HR saw the case, HR took it up and HR asked her, which is the boss, for her side of the story. And her defense was, interestingly, she said that, well, this is not a company event. This is my Christmas party at my house. I'm serving people things that I buy with my own money, not the company's money. And I'm cooking and I'm hosting and I'm cleaning. So why do I have to follow company's rule in terms of who to invite and all of that? Because in this situation, I am, you know, it's a social setting. This is, I'm not organizing
It's
this.
a tricky one, that one, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Because
tricky.
clearly there's a statement being made,
Betul.
but it's on a personal basis.
Betul.
Yeah.
So, so that's why HR was like, oh, we're not quite sure. And then they give me a call and...
What did you say about this?
Yeah,
I'm pretty
what-
curious.
I mean, we looked into it, talked to like a bunch of people, did some investigation, look into her past engagement scores, look into her pulse scores, look into like attrition and all of that. You just look at so many things. And we also look at exit interviews of her past employees, just to see whether there's a trend of you know, problematic behavior, because that's how usually you find out, like you say, right? You have to look, usually there's a trend to certain behaviors. And after all of that, just to cut everything short, so we came to the conclusion that she should have invited this person, because you can't divorce you as the team lead or you as the head of department versus you as just an employee right now.
Because
Like
you
it's
did
hard.
invite the rest of the team.
No lah. So then everybody except one is
Betul.
a
Yeah,
part.
except
If you
one.
done like
Betul.
Yeah.
half,
Yeah.
and then that's kind of
Yeah.
chill,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, hey,
Betul.
fine.
And
That one is too clearly like.
Betul. And I think this is the thing that's hard about leadership, because you sometimes forget that when you become a leader, there are certain things that are taken away from you, like your ability to just hide behind, oh, I'm just a person and therefore it's my party, so suka hati lah macam tu
No,
kan.
what you do in your personal life affects.
Betul.
Like that's a fact.
Betul.
Yeah.
Like
You're
macam-
accountable beyond office hours. Like yeah.
Betul. Like if you go out with one team lead today, you have to go out with the rest of the team lead as well, right? You cannot like pick and
I'm thinking
choose.
about all my parties.
So yeah, so that was, so for me that case it illustrates how nuanced the issue is, right? Isolation. It could be because I don't find what she said as a boss wrong. I find that she was legitimate in thinking that, okay, it's my own party, my money and all that, but you have to
But there's
balance
a
out.
bit of intentionality in that.
Yeah,
situation,
definitely.
Betul. And last one, the third one that is common is vilification, which also exists here. Vilification is basically a process where you mengutuk orang lah, basically, right? So you have a problem with someone. Let's say I have a problem with Yan about something, and instead of going to Yan to talk about it, I go to Rashvin and I'm like, oh my god, you know Yan, she's so
I hate
incompetent.
Office politics lah, basically. That's a term that we use here,
pisses
right?
me off. Like,
Yeah.
toxic behavior, like this kind of things, like a bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Toxic behavior at work, I think it doesn't need to be a blatant remark said to you, but this way, when
Betul.
you talk about that person, I think it hurts
Behind
more.
people,
I'm okay
Especially
with
when
renting.
someone's
Like,
bad.
I understand we all gotta rent sometimes.
Yes.
I understand that some clients or projects or what are just a bit like over, and you need to like lepas geram.
of course.
It's cool. That's totally like, in fact, healthy perhaps. But if you want to go like issue, you go
Yeah.
level. Wow.
In our company, that is actually disciplinary. It will actually lead to disciplinary action.
Yes,
Because
vilification
this
should.
toxic environment, because all this cultural contagion at workplace, right? I think for me, it's the most cancerous cancer at workplace. No, really, because
Yeah, stage 4.
Stage 4, definitely. That's it. You cannot do chemo,
Horrible.
cannot do anything horrible, really. Toxic. You can be not so smart, you can be not so hardworking, you can be not so punctual and all that. But the minute you have toxic behavior,
Yeah, the whispering.
the whispering, the gossiping behind someone's back. So in our company, that is not tolerable at all, like 100%.
Same.
You can't even rent actually, because renting will lead to gossiping about someone else. So we have one-on-one every month, so you can say it
To the person directly.
Yeah. So instead of, because what I learned, whilst I also enjoy renting, but I choose my outlet beyond my work. So obviously my husband is part of my business, so he plays two roles here. So I rent to someone that is not my colleagues, even back then, because I realized girls especially, we need to multitask, and we have all these things that are supposed to be our strength, but can also be
A double-edged sword?
Double-edged sword, And renting essentially will lead to talking about someone. And talking about someone, by the very definition of talking about someone, is actually gossiping about
And
someone.
and you're right to say that leads to that toxic behavior.
And then
going
you
in.
will
I could
influence
see
the
it, yeah.
other person's impression about that someone. The other person who's listening to you ranting will think, oh, she did that, that kind of things. And then maybe that person, if that person is not really that great and not so good person, will go to the third person and the fourth person and all that. Then habis lah.
Faham?
Yeah.
I mean, I think in the way I define renting here is there are times when we're in a meeting and then someone's like, "Ayo, this one so annoying," like. So they just you just have to say, and
yeah,
if
that's
it's a team,
fine.
as all of us are there, we're like, "Okay, come, let's just do this for 5 minutes, right, and just get this out."
Oh, yeah,
Like
that's
this client, like, can you imagine? We already told them 10 times,
Oh, yeah,
blah
that
blah
one we do
blah.
all the time
Yeah,
now.
like no. So they were like renting together, and then we're like, "Okay lah, phew, let's
Yeah.
got it out of the way."
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone feels a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Should-
Yeah,
that
but the
actually
way it's
helps.
1-to-1, then you're right. But then
Yeah.
it's being done not to sort of like
Resolve
Betul.
issues.
About external parties, kind of okay.
everybody
About
does
clients,
it.
it's okay.
Everybody does it. Like you would be lying to say,
You
"Oh
need to
no."
survive the day, right? You kind of need to let it out. And okay, now I'm okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
You give me a lot to think about, because I have been a believer that renting is okay, and there's a line that you will need to learn to navigate so that it doesn't cross between renting or venting to vilification of another person. So it's something I have to go
Yeah,
back and
it's a
think
slippery
about.
slope lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So office rumors is a terrible one. So I think the fact that this person, right, this lady boss, basically in this scenario, the fact that from the beginning, the way this story is set is that, oh, nobody likes her in the office, people don't like working with her and all of that. So that is a massive form of vilification, where you create a reputation for someone where they are not put in a position where they could defend or justify their behavior or tell their side of the stories. And I find that people like this, like what I said earlier, they become like the punching bag of the whole team. Because macam contoh, let's say Rashvin is my boss, and I see that Rashvin is tough on you and likes to like take things out on you and like overly critical of you and all of that. So I'm learning from his behavior. So me and the rest of the team member, then we will treat you the same way.
Yeah.
So if you buat salah, kita macam, oh, you know, the same way, right? So it creates like, again, it becomes worse for the person in this situation.
Yeah.
So for her, if let's say this, either the 23-year-old versus the 40-plus-year-old person come to you for advice, what would you say to, let's start with the 23-year-old person first. What would you say? So he comes to you, tells you all about this, and he's like, Rashvin, what should I do? What would you say?
No, I would honestly look at this person and be like, hey, this is like such a one-sided version. Have you even considered like your behavior? Why this is happening? I mean, I wouldn't dismiss it, right? So I would be like, hey, look, there could be some truth in this because there's always a bit of truth
Betul?
also, right? But honestly, this is like, very hard to take it at face value kind of stuff. Yeah. And so I would tell this fella like, cool, I'll look into a lot of other things, but can you take a moment to reflect and come back to me tomorrow with sort of why you think this could have happened to you? What have you done that could have also warranted such thing? And whilst that's happening, yes, I'm going to take this very seriously. I'm going to go look into all of this and understand the 6 who resign, talk to the other colleagues.
What about you? What would you
I
say?
think quite similar to what Raj said. To me, I wouldn't dismiss it because part of our responsibility is to listen to every employee, right? Every team member. So, first of all, an investigation should have taken place, right? I like to think that if we are a good team leader, before that 6 people resign, whatever that's happening with her before this 23-year-old male, I am just gonna go ahead and guess that he's quite new because he's 23 years old. Maybe he joined last year, whilst the female colleague has been around for a long time. So I'm sure it's been going on. And if you are a good leader, you would have seen that coming a long time ago. And if you did, and then this man comes in and started noticing and all that, I will, okay, thank you for letting me know and all that. I will actually put together, a committee to actually look into this and address this. And then the first person I will speak to is actually that female team leader or the boss, that one, because everything comes from her, right? So he's just the vehicle of information. He's just observing and letting you know. So I will actually focus my energy to talk to the other person, and then after that interview all the other colleagues who this person claim has happened to, including those 6 who have left the company. So I will do that, but deep inside, just personally, I will think that after everything is done, I will also probably have a conversation with this male person that we work as a team. Sometimes what you feel and all that, and you are probably influencing others to feel a certain way about a colleague and all that. Remember that this can happen to you as well in the future, and whatever that you're doing, this is something that may even scar this person. I'll talk because I have experienced a lot of scarring at work, and how I will give an example on these little things, whether it's isolation, exclusion, or whatever that we do towards our peers and colleagues will actually scar the other person or whatever, and this person will carry that scar into future jobs. It's going to be permanent and all that. So I will talk about that because sometimes we don't realize what we are doing is actually making people feel bad about themselves, including him. So I'll talk about that as after the investigation has taken place. But obviously the HR bit, I'm not an expert with HR, so I'll make sure that the HR manager takes over and do it by the book. But as a team leader, I will have a one-on-one conversation with this person and that person.
I like that. I feel like as a leader, the first course of action, regardless, because it could also be our point of view that we are projecting here, kan? So it's important to kind of validate the feeling, because the information might be inaccurate, but the feeling is felt anyway.
Very true.
So validate that, say, hey, you know what, nobody should be treated like this at work, and I'm sorry that this has happened. I will look into it, then go into the investigation, ask him to reflect, but also look at whether this female boss needs training.
Also true.
Maybe needs counseling, it could be like, or both of them need to go for like separate session, I'm not sure. But I think some kind of activities beyond the investigation to look at their mental health, I think is probably warranted as well.
Action is taken definitely after that.
Okay, I want to go to the final part of our session today, and this is where, if I could find the card, that is, where we want to look at your unpopular opinions about the workplace. And I'm quite scared about this session. So a note to the audience, it is meant to be an unpopular opinion. So if you disagree with the opinion shared, then that's the point, I guess, right? To create a culture where you can hear someone saying something that you strongly disagree with and can sit through and listen and try to understand this point of view. That's the point of this exercise, okay? But that's not for you, that's for the audience. Let's start with maybe Rashvin. What's your unpopular opinion about work?
Unpopular opinion. Wow. So I guess for me, it's probably something that I experienced quite a lot and I've been reading quite a bit as well. But work-life balance, right, is probably a bit of a myth, if you ask me. And I'll tell you why. Because, so we are dealing with a very progressive workforce, right, in Biji-Biji America. And we have colleagues and we provide full flexibility. So you don't have to, you can come in like we say minimum 1 to 2 days a week. We encourage 2 days a week, minimum 1 day a week. Now, we also allow flexible timing if you've got your kids to attend to or parents, or you can start a bit later, finish a bit earlier, get your stuff done. So in that setup, like expecting to have a very defined 9 to 6 work life doesn't exist, right? We work on events and programs and projects, and there are things that occur at 10 p.m. where the client suddenly has a crisis, and so this is all not encouraged, but when it happens, it has to be resolved, right? And yes, I'm like, if I don't need to catch out someone, I never would. If it can be dealt with by a small group, it should. But I really manage expectations to say that, guys, we work in a very fluid and dynamic environment. And with that freedom and trust that we give, which is flexibility and the power to design, we also expect that this type of flexibility at work is expected. So some people and I tell people, if you have a very rigid view of work life, it's going to be a bit hard because our workflow is very different, and that's what it comes with.
Because that's how time works, right? You can allocate 9 to 5, 10 to 1 to do anything, but at the end of the day, things come up and you have to address that. What about you, Yan? What's your unpopular opinion?
Before I share my opinion, I think it's important for me to put it out there as a disclaimer.
I like how scared we are.
That I'm very strict with my team about 9 to 6, meaning you clock in at 9 and you should clock out at 6. I'm very strict. I even spoke to my team, maybe we can just make sure that the electricity is going to be auto off by 6, so that, forcefully ask people to leave the office. It's something that I wanted to do. And people who know me know that I have a very fun, vibrant, colorful personal life.
True.
I dance a lot, I party a lot, I spend a lot of time with my friends and family and my kids and the whole thing. Now, having said that, I don't believe in work-life balance.
Okay, I like to hear this.
So I believe in work-life integration.
Okay.
I don't think there is a need to separate work and life. To me, my definition of life involves work. And so I don't think work and life needs to be separated.
And balance, as if they are opposing forces, right?
They're not opposing forces actually, right? So if you're trying to balance it, you're just gonna complicate the whole thing. Say for example, you're at work. To put simply, you're at work. You check your WhatsApp, right? You check your WhatsApp, you reply your mom, you reply your dad. Sometimes you are a mother, then you need to call the baker to actually order the birthday cake for your daughter. That's life, right? So you're actually organizing a
Or you're
birthday party
researching
for your
some of your
daughter. Or
trip
you're
quickly. You need
researching.
to, someone sends you a link.
Why-
And
Or
you
buy that plane ticket.
Yeah. So everyone does that. A lot of us do that. Actually, most of us do that, right? But somehow, when you clock out after 6, and suddenly when you need to do a little bit of work, that becomes a big thing. Like, oh, that is so bad.
So
That's so
unreasonable to
wrong.
ask
That's
this,
so
like, yeah.
unreasonable. That's so unreasonable, right? So to me, as long as you allow yourself to integrate personal things, so I won't say life, I'll say personal things when you are at work, and when you are spending some family time, you are with your friends and all that. If some urgent work comes in and you need to get it done so that you can enjoy the rest of the weekend or whatever, or you can actually face Monday in a more peaceful manner. Otherwise, you won't be able to face Monday in more peaceful manner. Like at least me, because if I don't get it done on Friday night or on Saturday morning, the Monday is going to be really, really difficult for me, right? So to me, I'm integrating work into personal and personal into work. So you just need to be able to know your limit, and obviously, if it is going to the extreme, then you need to know where to put a stop to it lah. So as long as you know that, but I think don't be so extreme in trying to balance work
Yeah, like, don't be
and
so
life.
rigid with that.
Don't be so
Because
rigid.
life is
Yeah.
not black and white.
Because
Like,
I think trying to run away, trying to separate, I think that is
you
something
set
else
yourself up
already.
for disappointment,
Yeah,
essentially.
correct.
Betul.
Yeah, it's all
Betul.
the mindset.
I mean, I know some German companies have done this, right? They've banned any kind of WhatsApp or email after office hours. Sure, but then that's going to make the cost of doing business so much more. They're going to have different kind of problems,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's about a bit of flexibility, and everybody
Yeah.
wins.
Betul.
Yeah.
I could see that
also
point.
the
Yeah.
fact that somehow or rather, a lot of us think that joy only comes from the
Life.
life bit. Joy doesn't come from the work bit. That is so untrue. I get a lot of joy from working,
Betul.
from helping people and all that. So if from the get-go you think that you can only get the happiness and the happiness and the joy from that life bit, memanglah you will
Sedih
think
lah,
that
then only you got weekends
memang
lah.
you will feel
Betul.
like
You only
you
got
will
the
feel
few
that
hours after
that's
work.
it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how then suddenly you become so extreme to balance the work and life.
That means you're in the wrong job,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah. Or sometimes I do wonder that if we feel this way because we're entrepreneurs.
Yes and no. Yes, we are more likely to feel this way, but I think even when I was working, I had to find a job that I was happy to be at. Yeah, you're not going to get all happiness, but you must be enthusiastic, like passion, what you said earlier.
The haters would say yes,
Yeah.
but I've
Alright.
always felt that way.
So our unpopular opinion is perhaps that work-life balance is a myth and we should all aim for integration instead.
And fluidity.
And
with it,
fluidity and be
yeah.
dynamic about it. All right, cool. So that marks the end of our conversation today. Thank you so much to Yan and Rashvin. I had a lot of fun in this episode. I hope you have a lot of fun as well. And
It was really fun. Thank you for having us. Yeah.
thank you for coming. I knew that both of you would be like a very good and Mischief is a very good
Listener.
guests to have in this first episode. So thank you so much, everyone. It's been a joy. Until the next episode. Bye.